you have to be careful not to marry your feelings about Joe Rogan to what you think of this place that you've never been. Yeah, because the club is its own thing. Joe owns it, but it's not like like some people think we all just lock ourselves in there and then all the white people say nigga as much as they want, and we all give them gold stars for pronunciation, and then we walk all out like that, like it's a secret racism club. Welcome back to BS with Brian Simpson, episode 55. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, comments, concerns, you want advice from the advice champ, email us at BSwithBrianSimpson@gmail.com, or you can call us at 323-451-1980. Or if you're technologically not as savvy, you can make a voice note and send it to us in the email. If you want tickets to the tour dates, go to BrianSimpsonComedy.com. Again, this weekend I'll be in Jacksonville, Florida, at the Comedy Zone. Get those tickets at BrianSimpsonComedy.com. And in a few weeks, I'll be at the Comedy Zone in Greensboro, North Carolina. So, yeah, those tickets are on sale now. Also, don't forget to check out the Josh Parter Show and Apocalypse Soon with Eddie Pepitone and Kevin Tink, and also Comedy Frequency at comedyfrequency.com. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. The elephant in the room, the Comedy Mothership opened a couple weeks ago, and some people are upset about it. Those people are upset about it already. This is crazy to me. This is an article from the Hollywood Reporter, the bastion of journalism. It says Joe Rogan opens an anti-cancel culture club in Austin. That's a weird way to describe it. To describe a comedy club. Do I even need to read this? The first words in the article are "unvaxxed sperm" in quotation marks, which is. It says, "Unvaxxed sperm" reads the poster held aloft by a woman standing outside the theater, and you're in the right place. It's so crazy to come to downtown Austin on 6th Street and quote the signs of crazy people. Crazy. It's like that has nothing to do with the club. Anyway.
It's like going to Hollywood Boulevard and talking about the signs there. It's like
some people have these weird
schizophrenia.
Polarizing takes, and I've seen some of the takes. I try to avoid like reading comments and reading retweets, but when some of them just come across your purview if you're scrolling on things,
right?
Or some shit gets sent to me, and it's so weird to me that people that have never been to the place have these like strong opinions about what it is and what it ain't, and what it could be and what it couldn't be. You know what I mean? And I think that you have to be careful not to marry your feelings about Joe Rogan to what you think of this place that you've never been. Yeah, because the club is its own thing. Joe owns it, but it's not like like some people think we all just lock ourselves in there and then all the white people say nigga as much as they want, and we all give them gold stars for pronunciation, and then we walk all out like that, like it's a secret racism club, or this anti. It's nothing like that at all. I mean, because I don't know what to call. I don't know what to call the opposite of whatever this is. Or I saw another article that was that instead of anti-cancel culture, they called it, anti-woke, which is also a weird term. Because, some people say woke. Like, woke means a whole bunch of things now. My whole time growing up, woke was like, hey, stay aware, keep your head on the swivel, be aware of the history and all that. And now it means like 4 or 5 different things. Like, some people say woke and they still mean that, right? And some people say woke and they mean cancel culture. And some people say woke and they mean niggas, you know, and it's just a way for them to be. It's like thug. It's a way for them. It's a dog whistle, so they can get away with saying racist shit. And people, whenever people say that, they never define what it is. They never define what they mean by it.
Well, there was that just recently that that video that went viral where
she asked the lady to define it.
Yeah, define woke on, was it MSNBC or CNN, one of those?
That was so bizarre. It was so bizarre that she couldn't, because if I'm not mistaken, that lady's whole career is like she blew up from writing a book about anti-wokeness or whatever, right?
Yeah, but it's just culture war horse shit. It's just these people who make a name for themselves doing this stuff. It's like the Matt Walsh thing where he was on Rogan and they said, you know, well, how many of these surgeries are happening? And he's like, millions. And then they like, Jamie looked it up and it's like, yeah, it's like less than 4,000 over the last like 5 years or something. And it's like, well, this is the guy that is the self-proclaimed expert on this. And he was off as you could be.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then this woman is like, well, can you define woke? And she's like, well, this is going to go viral, but not really. I can't do it in 15 seconds. And then her comeback was like, well, we'll give you longer than 15 seconds. And she still couldn't do it.
Yeah, but also that seems like the sort of thing that even if you didn't know what the fuck you were talking about, I mean, let alone you wrote a book on it.
You have to have that one in the chamber.
Yeah, you gotta have that one loaded up. Like it seems like, and even if you you woke up that morning and you forgot everything in the book, you just had very, very, very precise amnesia.
Yeah,
you should still be able to wing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because that just goes to show you, man, a lot of these people don't mean the stuff they're saying. It's a grift. It's a grift. Because let me tell you something. If I could stop you on the street and go, hey, the thing you hate the most, describe it to me. We would be standing there, we'd be talking for 5, 10, 15 minutes. You wouldn't hesitate at all. You know what I mean? I could always describe the things I hate.
Well, Brian, do you think this is this an anti-woke club?
No, I think because the article, I mean, they quote something Roseanne actually did say on that night, and I think it's a very interesting point. You know, you can think she batshit crazy or she's lost it or she's this or that, but
I think all those things.
But Roseanne, but Roseanne be speaking. She don't be bullshitting. You know what I mean? She really mean the shit she be saying. And she said a real interesting thing because she might be all those things, right? But she said it's funny how the people that was it NBC or ABC?
I just think it was NBC.
The people at this network who she had to fight tooth and nail for decades to have. People of color and LGBTQ people with representation on TV, how she had to fight them tooth and nail, even as the star of the show. And then she fucked up one time, and they call her racist. Like the same people turn around and you know, it's like, because that's what I mean is this whole it's this liberal idea that because you're on the left that you're not racist or discriminatory. You know, like I said, the people you're accusing might be whatever you're saying, but you're not better than them. You know what I mean? And it's I think we try to put a face to the bullshit. You know, this club is just a comedy club. I ain't seen nobody get pulled to the side and go, hey man, you know, we don't say woke stuff in here. You know what I mean? I mean, that's a weird thing to say. In fact, it's the opposite of that. It's like, this is a club where you can say whatever the fuck you want to say. Because I think a lot of clubs, this is really just a Hollywood problem, to be honest with you. A lot of clubs and a lot of institutions in the show business world, they're trying to control what is acceptable. They don't want to take risks, so which is where the good shit comes from. So it's just this sanitized comedy.
In what way though? Like lay it out for somebody like me who's not a stand-up comedian. Have you ever been told by a comedy club owner like, "Hey, you can't say that in here," or how is that? How
No, I'm talking about in terms of who they book and what they think that says about them. You know, and it's all very controversial. I mean, it's all very. None of it's very exacting, but it's like if you have enough negative press or enough controversy around you, then they want to separate themselves from you as much as possible. But then their true colors get revealed if you can sell tickets. See, because that's what it all boils down to. It all boils down to making money. Or not making money.
Well, that's why I was going to say, I agree with you that you can separate Comedy Mothership from Joe Rogan himself. Obviously, they're not the same entity, but I don't know if you can entirely separate them into two distinct things because everybody knows that Comedy Mothership is Joe Rogan's club. He was able to purchase that building and renovate it because of the money he made on his podcast. It has a lot of attention because it's Joe Rogan's comedy club.
I'm not saying you got to separate the two completely in your mind, but I'm just talking about. I think a lot of people have prejudged what the venue is based on how they feel about Joe, and they're wrong about a lot of things. Because those are two separate things. Like what kind of comedy club it is has nothing to do with him in terms of his views or what he would say. It's like we don't have to say what he would say. No comic that's walked in that club, no comic that's actually performed at this club has bad things to say about it. None.
Yeah,
no.
But aren't you saying exactly what some people are saying about this? You're saying that this comedy club is different from other comedy clubs,
right? But it's different in the way that it's pro comic. In other words, like, and that is by design. That is directly connected to the fact that Joe Rogan opened it, honestly. But what I mean by that is every other comedy club has to survive. So they make decisions based on what they think will help them survive. So that's why it appears as though they're inconsistent about who's canceled or who can perform or who's banned or any of that stuff. Because at the end of the day, they got to make money, or they don't want protests or whatever the fuck, right? But this club doesn't have to worry about any of that, because the owner of the club is already very, very rich. He doesn't have to like I remember the first comedy club I worked at. I remember, I walking around the club thinking, man, we need this, we need that. And I'll never forget one day the owner bought like 2 big screen TVs because he wanted to turn one of the little rooms into like a little like Italian restaurant thing to like sell food during the day to like make extra money.
Sure.
And then I remember that same night I was hosting a show and we didn't have a backup microphone. Our mic went out. And we had to send somebody, mad dash scramble to go buy a microphone. And that's what I mean is like, normal comedy club owners have to like cut corners and scrimp and blah, blah, blah to make a profit. This club doesn't have to do that. So everything is very comedian-centric. Not to say that the audience, there's not a bad seat in the house, but just the thoughtfulness behind everything. It has nothing to do with the comedy or any restrictions or anything put on the comedy itself. When I say it's different from every comedy club, I'm talking about, all the little things, the layout, the seating, the green room, the sound system, top notch, all the little things that a normal club might have to go cheap on or skimp on or maybe not necessarily get the best thing on. This club is not restricted by any of that. So everything is the best it can be as far as, at least it's the best that the people working for Joe know of. I'm sure they're not all audiophiles and
But do you
cushion
think
experts or whatever?
But do you think that the Comedy Mothership would book comedians who can't get booked elsewhere?
I think so. I mean, because listen, Adam,
because wouldn't that make it? I mean, I assuming that they are being canceled for quote unquote wokeness reasons, which I think we're talking about the PC version of woke. Then doesn't that make it the anti-woke comedy club?
I don't think it positions itself as that. You know, I mean, you can call it that. I think it's just
sure.
Because it started out as just comedy clubs, and whatever you describe as woke happened. So I would call this just a return to normalcy, of just the funniest people go up. That's what it is.
Yeah, but you're still operating. You're still adopting a framework that's being imposed on it from the outside. You're saying that this is a return to something that has been warped or altered by market forces, that it is in the economic best interest of the vast majority of comedy clubs that need to just make a profit however they can, that they have to abide by some sort of shifting definition of like what's allowed and what's not. That's the wokeness that we're talking about. And now you're saying that, well, because the Comedy Mothership has essentially a wealthy philanthropist, right, of comedy running it, it doesn't have to abide by anything. The market force, the woke defined market forces of the comedy club, right? So it is anti-woke in that sense, in that it doesn't have to care about wokeness. I mean,
yeah, but you know what I mean, Rob. Framing it as anti-woke, the implications of that are that, because what these people mean when they say that, they don't mean what you're saying. Okay. They're trying to make it controversial. They're trying to start an argument about it. You know,
so the difference between let me throw this out here, and you tell me if you agree with how I'm framing it here. That there's a difference between something being just like, it's kind of the difference between like non-woke versus anti-woke. Like the notion that like if it's a non-woke comedy club, it's like, well, we just don't give a shit about the stuff that the other comedy clubs have to care about because we're independently funded, right? Versus anti-woke is like, anti-woke is its own brand. Like I'll drop the link in the show notes for the article.
And listen, there definitely may be comedians performing there that would call themselves anti-woke.
Yeah, I mean, do you think
the club itself doesn't make those distinctions? The same person that was booking the Comedy Store when I started working there books this place. So that right there should tell you all you need to know about what sort of.
Is it Adam Egget?
Adam Egget. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, would you call the Comedy Store an anti-woke comedy club? I don't think I would call it that.
No, but I would actually say it's probably non-woke if we're using that terminology. I mean, I don't think that.
But what about now? He doesn't work there now. What do you think it is now?
No, he doesn't work there now. The booker over at Comedy Store is great.
I mean, but would you call the club? Would you call the club anti-woke or non-woke?
I don't think
because that's the thing, is like no other club has to define themselves in those terms. Why when they write about this club, what it's immediately like about that, because they think they can stir up they think this headline can stir up controversy.
Well, yeah, that's the reality. So the reality is like, that
I visited the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. You know the anti-Semitic club. You know the pro-Palestine club, and they don't talk like that. You know.
Yes and no. I mean, I do agree with you to a certain extent. I think that you are short selling. Oh, go ahead.
Because I think at some point, because what aspersions does that cast on the people? Like if you start listing the people that have performed there, that argument falls completely apart. It's like nobody. I mean, would you consider me anti-woke or
no?
Right.
But if you look at the opening night lineup, it's like Joe Rogan, Roseanne, Tony Hinchcliffe, David Lucas. Am I missing somebody from the opening?
Probably, yeah.
But I would describe all four of those comedians as having, because it happens on the other side too, right? It's like, yes, the comedy clubs, they have a financial interest in, not necessarily booking acts that are seen as canceled or whatever, because they don't want the heat.
Some people are radioactive.
Some people are radioactive, but I would say that a lot of comedians, then in turn, they make their brand partly anti-woke. Like Joe Rogan, not so much necessarily his stand-up.
But in this context, by woke, you mean cancel culture. Like it's anti.
Yeah,
okay.
We're all in the, like, right now. I think the whole conversation is in terms of woke as a sort of modern day interpretation or evolution of PC culture, which I think is honestly like a pretty awful left-wing attempt at being left-wing without any sort of like critical material analysis of people's circumstances. Yeah. I think that on one hand you have people who promote wokeness because it's easier than actually like dealing with difficult political problems, is like you just cancel people who aren't woke enough for you or whatever. But then on the other hand, you also have comedians and other creators who make a name for themselves by being anti-woke. There's always going to be money in that, right?
Right.
Like you look at just recently, Jim Brewer and Brian Callen and Nick DiPaolo all got hired by Steven Crowder, right? And it's like they've all just gone all in on the they don't really want or can't get general audiences now. All their comedy is just anti-PC. It's just all the same anti-PC horse shit from the 1990s. It's
all those people comedians? Is Crowder a comedian? Does he
Crowder considers himself a comedian. I would consider him more. I mean, he's more of just a straight up podcaster. He's a failed comedian. You can go see his stand up from past years. It's pretty. So it's like he's like a Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin started out as a stand up comedian before he became a professional Why I Left the Lefter. But to go back because I don't want to go off a tangent of those fucking hack comedians, because I'm not gonna compare Jim Brewer to fucking Tony Hinchcliffe. Tony Hinchcliffe's actually funny. David Lucas is actually funny, so but I would say that a big part of, maybe not David Lucas, but certainly Tony Hinchcliffe, is he gets a rise out of people by saying shit on stage that you're quote unquote not supposed to say, right? He's definitely anti-PC. Let's just say PC instead of woke. Just people know what we're talking about. But Tony Hinchcliffe is definitely an anti-PC comedian, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing about Joe Rogan. I think a lot of his stand-up nowadays is.
But I think
things are crazy, man.
I think every comedian is anti-PC though. I think what changes is what you define as too far. Like no one's upset because everyone holds their upsetness to the point where it bothers them. Because every comedian wants to be able to say what they saying.
Sure, of course.
You know what I mean? And then as soon as they get to the point where they start fucking with what they can say, then they have a problem with it. Then it's like, oh, PC culture, But
what? Yeah, I'm trying to clarify between two different things, because I think there is a distinction. There's a distinction between the vast majority of comedians. Number one, are going to temperamentally be anti-PC, but also they have a vested interest in being anti-PC because that materially threatens comedians and creators and artists if society or the government starts saying, okay, here are these things that you can't talk about. Obviously, that they have vested interest in being against that. But there are comedians who never talk about politics, never talk about wokeness, never talk about left wing, right wing, never talk about the topics of PC culture, regardless of what their personal beliefs or personal interests might be for or against political correctness, right?
Right.
So I think that the association, I think the fact that Joe Rogan has, especially since COVID, like built a very bankable brand around anti-PC, anti-wokeness, that you can't fully separate his ownership of this club from that very public persona that he's fostered and monetized.
Yeah, but
right?
I mean, look, if Joe Rogan opened a sandwich shop, people wouldn't go, these are anti-woke sandwiches. They would go. It's like the first of all, the opening night lineup was a Joe Rogan and Friends show. Those are his friends,
Right.
and those were the most famous of his friends that were in town that night.
Sure.
But there's been like 25 lineups since then.
But you can't compare sandwiches to stand-up.
Well, no.
One of them is an artistic outlet where you're making statements and you're making arguments and you're making people laugh and everything, and the other is a sandwich.
Yeah, but that's a red herring. My point is you can't assume what this club is just because it's owned by Joe Rogan. Because here's my thing, is if you're a journalist, there are shows you can go see to determine what it is. You know what I mean? So for you to, before it even opens, to go, this is what it has to be because it's owned by Joe Rogan. It's kind of, that has more to do with your obsession with Joe Rogan. I mean, now this person went to or at least they claim they went to the first show. Like I said, there's been 25 shows since then. So it's I mean, listen, I don't have a problem with you calling it, if I don't control how people see things. It's like if you want to call it an anti-cancel culture, fine. Because I think they say that about everybody that's funny. They call them controversial, or they call them whatever. They make up a buzzword, or they apply an already existing one to you. But I just think it's silly. I think it's the obsession some people have with making Rogan the face of something they hate already. It's kind of crazy to me. The club is awesome. If you're a comedy fan, come to the club. If you're a comedian, you're gonna love it. And that's the truth. Every comic has loved it. Every audience person has loved it, except for that one dude that got I think he got arrested probably. Motherfucker pulled the fire alarm or something crazy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's insane.
Yeah. So it's
well, no, the club itself looks fucking dope.
Because here's the funny shit about it, Rob.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. The people that are some of the people have a real huge problem with this club. That is like, and I've went over all the other things before. The comics get health care and way more pay and all this other stuff. And right when the club opened, they started attacking the place. Right, and it just so happened that this club opened the same week that South by Southwest opened, who all of these same people fucking worship, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And South by Southwest.
Wait, what do you mean? Who were they worship?
The South by Southwest. It's like it's one of the big festivals in the art.
No, but what do you mean? There's all the same people.
Sorry,
I interrupted. I didn't understand what you were talking about.
A lot of the same people that hate. A lot of the same people that use Joe Rogan as a virtue signal, like, because in certain circles, how much you hate Joe Rogan ingratiates you to the pack. It's the same way. It's the same thing fucking conservatives do with George Soros or whatever the fuck, right? Or whoever that billionaire is. It's like a lot of these same people love South by Southwest because it's indie films and it's real artists shit.
Oh, I see what you're
right?
saying.
And South by Southwest South by Southwest they charge people, I think, $55 to apply. And then your pay is $100 for you or $250 for a band or a pass to the festival. So you get to choose between getting paid almost nothing or a pass to the festival that you're performing at. That's how they pay people. And none of these motherfuckers have anything to say about that. And both things started at the same time. Both things opened the same day or the same week. And there's a I don't know what the fuck the name of the union is, but this artist union, Performers United or whatever the fuck they are, this whole last 2 weeks protesting South by Southwest for this very reason. And so my point is, it's like, is your obsession with proving how liberal you are by shitting on something is it so consuming that you walk right past the actual thing that you have a problem with, or you say you do? You know what I mean?
100% understand. That's exactly what I was talking about, where I think a lot of the, because there are people who are pro PC, like as in, or pro woke in the PC sense of the term, right? They're in the same way that there are the people who are like 50% of all drone airstrike pilots should be women type shit, where it's like they are obsessed with the appearance of liberalism or the appearance of left-wing politics, but they really don't.
The appearance of left-wing politics, that's where you left off.
The appearance of left-wing politics as opposed to the substance of left-wing politics, right?
Right.
It's the people who will earmark $500,000 to paint Black Lives Matters on the fucking Main Street hard top, right? But then they'll turn around and they'll also sign a bill giving another $1 billion to the police.
Right. Or they'll call the police on a black man that's just walking down the street.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They'll have a sign in front of their house that says, "In this house, we believe that women are women, and that all Black Lives Matter, and yada yada yada." And then as soon as they see like somebody with dark skin walking around outside, they're on the phone with 911.
Yeah, this is why social media is destroying us. Because I think because we know that it's true that if you ask people how they feel about certain ideas, separate from the politics and the buzzwords around those ideas, right?
Yeah.
Most people agree with the sensible shit. You know?
Yeah.
It's almost like you remember that it was an old town hall meeting with Obama, and the subject of like gun control came up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he broke it down perfectly. Like he was like, "Do you think this?" People were like, "Yeah." "Do you think that?" "Yeah." He was like, "Well, that's what the bill was." You know, but
right.
it's like you get if you call it gun control, people go, "Oh," because that's a buzzword, and I've already picked a side. But if I ask you, "Hey, do you think somebody with schizophrenia should be able to buy a gun?" People are like, "No." They're like, "Okay, well let me put this in the legislation," but then all the buzzwords come around it, and people are like, "I'm against it. Vote against." You know what I mean?
Right.
And as long as like I would love to ask people what they think about things without them being able to go on Twitter or go on to see what the correct thing. What's your raw thoughts? You don't have to have the right answer, but what's your raw emotions? But a lot of times we don't even have a chance to do that. By the time you any new issue that comes up, by the time you wake up in the morning, there's already 50 fucking pundits and talking heads tweeting about it that already told you what to think about it. You know? Yeah,
there's already a constellation of 3 or 4 perspectives that you're
that's why I love this lady. I don't know her. I forget her. Oh, Nina Turner. You ever follow her? You know her?
Oh, yeah. She's great.
She is unapologetic. She says the same thing every single fucking day on Twitter. The same thing. She is not wavered. Not once. She like, everyone deserves water, clean water, food, and livable wage, and housing. And people, these are controversial opinions for some reason. And it was so funny because I remember when the train crash happened that released the chemicals we talked about a few episodes ago, right? There were a lot of liberals that were like, yeah, that's what they deserve. They voted for Trump over there, and so fuck them. And she came back like, no, everyone, regardless of who they voted for, deserves.
Wrong.
Huh?
No, I say she came in. She's like, wrong.
Yeah,
wrong,
because
wrong
that's what I mean. It's like, are you so obsessed with owning the right? Because I think a lot of the things that people on the right think are stupid. I think a lot of it is intellectually inconsistent. I think a lot of it is counterproductive. But they still people. I'm not so obsessed with teaching them a lesson that I want their kids to have poisoned drinking water. You know what I mean? And some people are like, because this lady Nina, she doesn't, because people expected her after getting on Twitter every single day for I don't know how many years, going, everyone deserves clean drinking water, living wage, a food, uncontaminated food supply, and housing, and people expected her to really go accept these people. Like just this one time, after being consistent all this time, to go, fuck those people over there because they voted against the things that I'm saying. And I think that's most, like we're so caught up in this whole fucking bullshit of you putting all our energy in the things we hate instead of putting any energy at all into something that we actually support. It's like, if you don't support it, don't fucking buy shit. But why? But imagine if you put the effort that you put into tearing shit down, if you just put half of that effort into building something up that you really like or that you really believe.
Yeah, but have you ever seen the documentary Century of the Self?
No.
You ever heard of that documentary? It's about, who Edward Bernays is?
Mm-mm.
He was Sigmund Freud's nephew. He lived in America, and he basically invented public relations as an industry. And he was the one who figured out that you could convert America from a society of needs into a society of desires. Because the problem in like post-industrial United States was that it was so cheap and easy to produce things that the fear was like, well, we're just going to make so much stuff that there's nobody to sell it to, because you can only wear so many shoes. You can only, you can only live in one house. You don't need more than one car, yada, yada, yada. So what he realized based off of Freud's work was, he's like, well, yeah, but that assumes that human beings are rational economic creatures, and they're not. Most human decisions are based off of pre-rational or sub-rational animalistic urges.
Yeah.
And so you can advertise things that people don't need, but you can make them want them. And what that eventually evolved into was modern politics, where you no longer say, okay, here's what I believe. Here are the processes that I want to implement to get there, and then here's my rational argument for why that's going to work. All you do is you just say like, hey, people that are like X want this thing that I'm talking about. And then politics becomes an act of voting for one party becomes an act of consolidating your identity and performing who you think you are, rather than addressing material issues that a citizenry has. It becomes about owning the libs or owning the conservatives, rather than like actually trying to solve problems that have real practical solutions.
See, I think, you know what it is? I think I figured that out on my own. Like I'm on a mission to make bidets a black thing.
I support this mission.
Just because
100%.
Because listen, here's the thing. So many things in the black community, we've been put in a bind with a lot of things by labeling certain stuff white people shit. So then we don't do it. And even if that's the best thing to do or the better thing to do, we don't do it because it's like an affront to our cultural identity. So it's like, in bidets, it's not white people shit. And I'm trying to make it a black thing before it's too late. Because it's better. It's better. And we already lost it. You know?
Maybe because the Japanese are really into bidets. Maybe that's an in. Maybe we can turn it into like a cool Japanese thing.
That's the thing. I feel like I've told this story on the pod before, but bidets, not bidets. So the bidet is just the part that squirts water in you, right? That obviously that was invented in France, but the washlet, right, which is the attachment in because a bidet is a separate like thing, right? But the washlet, the electronic toilet seat, the attachment, that was invented in America. And I forget the guy's name, but he initially invented it for his elderly parents. And the problem is he had a hard time talking about talking to people about their parents' feces. And so the idea was bought from him by Toto, which is now like the #1 washlet company in the world. So it was actually an American invention, and now it's colloquially referred to as the Japanese toilet seat, but it's actually an American toilet seat. I'm trying to save America's booties because if I make it a black thing, and I make it such a black thing that rappers start talking about it, then it's gonna become cool, and then it's gonna trickle throughout society because black people decide what's cool. And once bidets become cool, even if, I think once everybody's walking around with cleaner assholes, people will be calmer. Like once it's to the point where it's like, because my problem now is I have a nice one in my house. And when I travel, I don't have nice ones. So I wanted to be because when I went to London, stayed in a nice hotel. There was bidets in the hotel because it's so not controversial over there. It's
continental, Brian.
Right, but here it's like if you didn't buy it, it ain't gonna be one. If no matter where the fuck you go, it ain't. You can stay in the nicest hotel in the United States, and there's not a bidet in there. There's it's just a regular toilet, which is fine. Regular toilets are fine, I guess, but it's not the best thing. And so wait a minute. This speaks to a larger discussion. Why don't we do the best things? Because that's my thing. Is like because this goes back to what I was originally trying to say before. Why aren't don't you want to be think about this, Saudi Arabia, which is the actual richest country in the world, right? Like they have, think about this. There are no homeless people in Saudi Arabia. Did you know that? There are 0 homeless people in Saudi Arabia. Because the king is like, oh, I have hundreds of trillions of dollars. Like, I don't want to see this shit. And they were like, well, what do you want us to do, sir? He's like, we'll just build them a house. He's like, oh, we don't have no way to build them a house. It's like, okay, look, motherfucker. He's like, go grab sand from the other side of the country and make land right here and then build these motherfuckers' houses. That's what they would do. Because it's the richest country. They're the richest country in the world, right? We're second, for sure. But the Saudi royal family is the richest. They're the richest people. Come on, like we don't know how much money they got, but that's how. And we never will. But it's obvious. Like they rich as fuck. So like some of the, even though they have a lot of cultural social problems, they don't have a lot of the solution to a lot of the obvious problems. If the solution to the problem is money, they got it solved over there. And we are the richest democratic country in the world. And when the solution to the problem is money, we still can't solve it. Isn't that crazy? Right. Like our government right now is they're arguing over how we're gonna take care of old folks in the future. And they arguing over whether it's ethical to give children school lunches and shit like that. But it's like we ain't got money. Like, because I can understand if these things were breaking us. But ask yourself why we don't do the best things. Because I would love to go to some other country and brag. I would love to be confused. Like, wait a minute. So people live on the street here? and y'all got three empty houses for for every person that live on the street. Give them a house. We don't want.
If you fall down and break your arm, you got to pay somebody to like put it in a cast. What the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, you might have to lose. You might have to lose your house that we didn't give you. I mean, I don't know, man. It would seem to me, like I said, if you could separate it all from politics and ask people what they truly think about certain things, I think more people would agree. Where it's like, because I hear so many people complain about the homeless people in Austin. And in every big city, people complain about the homeless people like it's an infestation, like it's something we can't do something about. It's like the article on one page is talking about how rent is being jacked up and it's getting unaffordable and the cost of living and inflation. And then the next article is talking about the homeless problem, and they don't connect the two things. They think it's like a separate thing. So when you ask people that complain about the homeless, when you ask them, okay, well, what do you want to do about it? They're confused because I need to get this guest on here. It's a very tricky political thing, right? Because the left and the right think they have the solution, and they're both wrong. It's like the solution is more because here's the thing: unless you house everyone, the housing isn't going to work. Unless the policy is everybody gets somewhere to live, then housing becomes a for-profit scam, which is what we're doing right now. That's what they were doing in LA when I was homeless. It was a for-profit scam disguised as a non-profit charity, but it's really just another way to take money from the neediest people, right? And I guess,
but that's also just because the concept of neoliberalism as the ultimate end-all, be-all, final form of human flourishing arose in the late 70s, early 80s, and we still have not unburdened ourselves of that misconception. Right. Yeah. So that even people on the left, in especially like Britain and the US, even on the left, you have to talk in the language of capitalism. You have to talk in the language of like efficiency. You can't just give people, you can't just pay for people's school because it's important for people to be educated, and that's a good thing for human beings to get for like their own self-actualization. It has to be like, oh no, we're training people to be workers, right? You have to talk about things in economic terms, even from the left. And it completely binds us where we can't just speak honestly about what needs to be done. These people have no homes. They need a place to live. We have to turn it into a government subsidized business where we give grants to nonprofits to operate real estate that's in a trust or an investment. You know what I mean? It's like
right. And then we don't do anything to make sure that we don't do anything to make sure it's actually helping anyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Nope. I get it because guess what? The business has to be. I that's why I think from this moment forward, I'm full cynic. I think it's all going downhill. I think this is the last. We're going to be the last generation of grandparents. We're going to have kids, and our kids might have kids, but those kids ain't going to be adults. There's going to be a wrap way before that. Because we talked about this. We spend a lot of time on this podcast talking about the world's problems, mostly because I think a lot of it's funny, because it's very self-inflicted, America is the it's the country equivalent of like the cowboy with shaky hands that shoots himself in the foot all the time.
Yeah.
But those are just the internal, those are like the self-caused problems. that a lot of our problems are caused by the concept of money that we made up. That's not even considering like the existential problems from the external existential problems. Like extinction level events, viruses, like pandemics, meteors, solar flares, goddamn the sun going red giant, coronal mass ejections, gamma ray bursts, fucking rogue black holes, super volcanoes. You know what I mean? Like all that shit is also happening. Climate change. All that shit is also happening at the same time that we continue to perpetuate the problems that we've caused. I guess you could argue we did cause a lot of global climate change, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The made up problems that come from the way we choose to distribute wealth are the least of our problems, and we ain't anywhere near solving those motherfuckers. I mean, right now, weren't the banks supposed to collapse yesterday or today?
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that yet.
Woo! I don't even know what that means. I mean, I don't even know how how we even end up. I mean, so does that mean we don't have money or we have money? Speaking of which,
well, we do have money.
How do we have money? Because our sponsor gives us money. Welcome. Our sponsor is SHEATH, right? Dude, listen, this is real talk. Maybe you can cut this into the ad or whatever. But I swear, I all my underwear are going to be SHEATH from now on. I mean, the idea, because the SHEATH I have, I don't know what they sent to everybody else. But there's a hole for your dick and a hole for your balls. So there's a pouch. I'm saying a hole. There's a pouch for your balls and a pouch for your package in these drawers. And it just feels right. It's like bidets. It's like the first time I use them, it's like, oh, what? Of course this is how I should be doing this. It's the same way. It's like I don't want any more underwear on that don't have pockets for my balls and my dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They sent me anyway. It just came in such handy this weekend because my balls were chafing. I think it's something about going from like wet to dry, but my balls were like chafing and man, put on my sheet, man. Like, thank God. And that's the thing too, man. You can put a little powder in the pocket. You know what I mean? You can put a little, you can put some Get Right in there. You can put some sage in there. Say you just left. You just left an encounter with one of those people that made you go, why the fuck did I do? You know what I mean? Like right when you came, you were like, why did I fucking, right? You throw some sage in your little testicle pocket, get the demons out of there.
You know why they call it sheath, right? Because you sheath your sword.
Oh yeah. I do know that. Is that the best name? Is that what you would have called it?
I mean, it's successful, so yeah.
I think I would have called it something fun. Nut Buddy or something like that. Cock Pocket, something like that. But,
cock Pocket's pretty good.
Yeah, but you can't you can't put cock on yeah. That'd be hard for marketing though. But anyway,
Pocket.
I love it. I love them. I really do. It's probably my most heavily endorsed. This is my most heavy-handed endorsement. And it's veteran owned. And I'm all about a veteran-owned business. Also, shout out to Stunting Like My Partners. They always showing me love, and they always sending me, let me sample stuff. So I really appreciate them. They're also veteran-owned, black-owned. Man, we ain't gonna get to none of this.
That's a twofer.
Yeah, but yeah, the banks. Anyway, the world is falling apart.
We should lay it out for people what happened with the banks.
Oh yeah. Also, hey, listen, if you want some of those underwear, don't forget you can use offer code BS for 20% off your first order. Just click on the link on the bio. I guess that's not. I should wait. I should just do that in the ad read.
But yeah, we should lay it out what happened with the banks for people because people may not be aware, or they might just be sort of tangentially aware of what's going on with the banks.
Okay. Well, I have no idea. Listen, I know that the crypto bank failed, right? The Silicon Valley based bank failed. I know that I know that the Trump era cutbacks on so big banks have to undergo what they call stress tests, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the threshold for what your bank is considered to be big enough to have to hold on. I'm going around. So the big banks have to undergo stress tests, which is basically the government coming in and making sure that you're not overextended, taking too many risks with everybody's investments, basically. Because that's all a bank is. They take your money, whatever money they're holding for you, they gamble it. And they have to, if it's so huge, they only allowed to gamble so much of it, because if they lose, they fuck up too many people's money. So it's that kind of shit. And so the government has to come in and make sure that they aren't taking overly risky investments and shit like that once they hit a certain size, right? And during the Trump era, they reduced those regulations to make that threshold larger. Right? So basically meaning, I want to say it used to be 250 billion, which is crazy. And I'm sorry. It used to be like 250 billion, and I think they raised it to, or maybe it was 150 billion, but they raised it to 500 billion, right?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but essentially there were three banks in the United States, and then one in Switzerland, which is Credit Suisse. So Credit Suisse is a slightly different situation, but the three American banks were Silicon Valley Bank, Signature, and Silvergate. And
never heard of them.
Never heard of any of those?
I never heard of any of those banks except Silicon Valley, but that was after they failed. I've never heard of any of these banks before they failed, and I never heard of the other two.
So yeah, Silvergate and Signature were smaller. I think Silvergate was the smallest one, then Signature, then Silicon Valley Bank is the largest one besides Credit Suisse, which is a Swiss bank. So essentially, what happened was Silicon Valley Bank was the one that went under and went into receivership under the federal government. And the way that the FDIC works is to prevent bank runs, the government insures...
Wait, what is a bank run? A bank run is everyone withdrawing all their money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens with banks is, as you said, it's a little more complicated than this, but the simple version is that they take deposits and then they use those deposits as leverage to invest in other things. And so they don't have, if they have, let's say, $1 billion under management at a bank, they don't have $1 billion in cash in the bank vault, right? So if everybody shows up to withdraw their deposits on the same day, then they don't have the liquid assets, the cash, to give people their money back. So you have a liquidity crisis. So what happened in the 1920s when there were bank runs is all these banks ran out of cash and they went under. And so people lost their deposits. So what the government did was they said, okay, we're going to insure deposits, but they only insure deposits up to $250,000. So, and the reason why is because that way most people don't have more money than that to put in the bank. So what ended up happening with Silicon Valley Bank is people were there's all these venture capitalist backed businesses that had millions and millions of dollars in deposits in Silicon Valley Bank when there was a bank run that was precipitated by people like Peter Thiel, who went and got their money out or sold their shares in Silicon Valley Bank.
And then he told everybody else to do it.
And then they got their money out and then they told everybody else to do it. And so all the market makers with millions and millions and millions of dollars, they got their cash out. They sold their shares in the bank. And then it trickled down until eventually, once the bank failed, there were tons of people with businesses that had millions of dollars in the bank, but they couldn't get their deposits out. So in order to prevent a series of bank runs, because that scares the shit out of people, and then they start going, well, maybe I should take my money out of this bank. Maybe I should take my money out of this bank. Maybe I should take my money out of this bank. In order to prevent that, like a system-wide bank run, the federal government stepped in and said, all of the depositors will be made whole. So essentially, we will extend the insurance to all deposits beyond $250,000. Now, this wasn't a taxpayer-funded bailout because the money that makes those depositors whole isn't from
right. It's from other banks.
It's from other banks.
Right.
The banks have.
It's almost like unemployment insurance. Like your employer pays into it.
Yes.
Right. It's not taxpayer money. Right. I get
Correct.
it. But I think that's a very convenient way of looking at it. I mean, it is.
Oh, sure.
It is taxpayer money. You know what I mean? It's like sure, the bank, because this is what I'm saying. It's taxpayer money as much as unemployment is taxpayer money.
Yeah, it comes from well, yes and no, but I mean the reality is like it's bullshit either way because
they don't call it tax, but it's money that's collected by the government and held for just such an occasion, and that money comes from who? From people, from the invest. It's just an indirect tax, you know.
I wouldn't look at it that way because then everything is a tax like that. Then the price of gas going up is a tax, and it's like no, that's not really a tax.
Well, the perfect example. What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You don't have to call it a tax for it to be taxpayer money, right? Like I said, a lot of people look at unemployment insurance as taxpayer money, right? But it really, I mean, it isn't. If this isn't, because it's not.
But then everything is taxpayer money because it's all coming from people who pay taxes.
What I'm saying is, it's not paid out of the money that is collected from your paycheck.
Right.
Right. It's paid out of a fund that's set aside that's collected from your employer indirectly.
Right.
So and this is the same thing, right? Every bank pays into this fund.
Right.
Supposedly.
But the bullshit was like, as you said, during the Trump years, the head of SVB argued for relaxing the regulations because, like you said, they stress test banks based off of how large they are. Because the larger a bank is, then the more risk that if it fails, it will ripple out through the larger financial industry and then to the larger economy, right? So Silicon Valley Bank made the argument like, we shouldn't have to abide by these regulations because we're too small to present a systemic risk.
Why don't they shoot this dude?
I don't know.
That will stop all. Look, guys, because we've been through this before. Remember the savings and loan scandals in the 80s?
Mm-hmm. We've been through this lots of times.
Yeah, remember the two? Yeah, exactly. It's like, and you know what happens? Very few of these motherfuckers ever see prison time. Mm-hmm. They need to kill one of these motherfuckers on TV. Like stream it live, pay-per-view. I will pay to see it. They need
then they should take that money and that should be what goes into the kitty for the FDIC insurance.
Exactly. Like because they know the risk that they're taking. These guys aren't stupid. It's not like the head of SVB he genuinely thought that his bank was too small for stress tests. He just wanted to be able to take bigger risks without the government stopping him. Bigger risks with other people's money. And look, the fact that we may have headed off this crisis has nothing to do with what this motherfucker was intending to do or risking doing. What he was if this had been able to go to, if the FDIC hadn't stepped in and made those people whole, like you said, the effect is equivalent to like an act of terrorism. I mean, imagine the ripple effect of multiple bank failures in a row. That's what this dude was risking. Punishable by death, I think. Punishable by death. They at least got to do him like they did Bernie Madoff. That's minimum. But I say, okay, maybe death. Maybe that's extreme. But somebody should beat the fuck out of them in front of everybody.
He just needs to be made. They just need to make an example out of him in whatever way is possible. You know.
Yeah, man. Because that's what we need.
That's what it comes down to.
We need a bank terrorist. Because that's the message that damn, I guess I sound like the Taliban now. That's the message they was trying to send by crashing into the World Trade Center. I think they just had. I think the outside world has a unnuanced view of American culture. And I guess that's true of everyone with every culture. It's like it's easy to take a general view of the culture from outside the country, but all the nuance is lost on you if you don't actually live there. So I think there's a way to go about hurting bankers that most people will be on board with. I don't know who the head of SVB is, but if we could just like waterboard him, in Central Park or something like that.
Greg Becker.
Because this is my problem with this shit, right? Is that sure they're making everybody whole, but they're not punishing the behavior. They're not punishing this behavior, so it's going to happen again. That's why it keeps happening again and again and again and again. Mark my words, within the next 5 years, the housing bubble's going to bust again. You know why? Because we ain't doing anything to stop it from happening again. It brought the world to its knees. We ain't doing nothing to stop it. Because what you just described is very, very similar to China's runaway problem with their evergreen and all of that, right? Mm-hmm. Because in China got into this habit of not allowing banks to fail, and they made it very public because they wanted to spark, economic activity. They wanted them to take more risks, so they were like, "We'll cover the losses." But then it worked. Their economy exploded, but then it got out of control because the risks you're willing to take. Think about the risk you would be willing to take if you knew that there would be no consequences.
Right.
Like think about
how you gamble your own money at a casino. Now think about how you might gamble somebody else's money at a casino. Now think about how you might gamble somebody else's money if you got a share of the winnings, and if you lost, the casino would cover you.
Right. So you walk out with your money no matter what. That's the message we're sending. Is that no matter what risks you take, you don't have to take any losses. Because guess what? That motherfucker's still rich, I bet you. The CEO of SVB, he still got all his motherfucking money.
Well, they got all their money out first. They sold millions and millions of dollars worth of shares.
Bro, come on, think about that.
So the only people who are left holding the bag here are the retail investors that own shares of SVB.
Bro, listen,
that's the only people left holding the bag.
Listen, I'm not. Y'all know me. Y'all know me. I don't advocate violence. But if I were one of these retail investors, the audio people didn't see me wink. I would pool. I would take once the FDIC check came in, I would pool with everybody, and we would hire an assassin to get this motherfucker. You know what I mean? A message got to be sent. I mean, they lucky. They lucky. You know what's wild? Because a homie of mine tried to get me into the crypto shit. You know what I'm saying? He made a nice little bag off of it, and I was perfectly positioned to do so. But it wasn't crypto though. It was like the Decentraland. It was like the real estate shit, the digital real estate.
Yeah.
And they made a lot of good money off it. And I imagine. And the only reason I said no, because he explained it to me, he made a lot of money from it, but I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it to the point where I could obsess over it the way he was. And it's like, and so I was like, nah, I'm just gonna focus on this comedy shit. You know what I mean? But, lucky for y'all, God bless stand-up comedy, because if I didn't have this and I had invested, if my money was in that bank, I'm telling you, I'd be organizing a hit on this dude. So he better count his lucky stars that I didn't invest. At least I would be trying to. It probably wouldn't work. You know what I'm saying? because people it's a bunch of bootlickers out here. It's like, yeah, but that isn't right. This dude was ready to send you and your whole family to the poorhouse because, like you said, a lot of Americans are very dismissive when it comes to like rich people. You know, when it comes to that. But here's the thing, man. Millionaires ain't rich people. You know what I mean?
No.
Now, once you hit the,
they're rich, but they're not wealthy.
Exactly, that's what I mean. A rich person is not a wealthy person. So, but I think we conflate the two a lot because sometimes I say fuck the rich or eat the rich, and I mean wealthy. But until you hit the $100 million, maybe $50 million, until you hit the tens of millions, you're not rich. You're not. That's not generational wealth. That's not like, because there's a certain level of rich that you hit in America where you can never be poor again. You know, unless you piss off every other rich person. Like the system is just set up so you can't ever lose money if you play the game correctly. Once you hit a certain amount of money, and a couple $1 million is not that. You know, I would say maybe 50, 60, 70 million. Once you hit about around there, boom, then you can start to begin to get the ball rolling. And so when you hear, and so it's easy to lump, like the word millionaires is very dismissive because it's levels to millionaire, and you can't lump them all the same. You know what I mean? So my point is, somebody who owns a house that's worth $1.2 million in a place like L.A. or Austin or New York or whatever,
they're not. That's not the same thing as somebody who has $30 million because they own shares in oil reserves or something.
Exactly.
That sells to 76s.
Or like a Rothschild that just has money you can't even define. So my point is, when you hear that the victims of this are millionaires, make no mistake, these are not the sort of millionaires this is not the flavor of millionaire where they aren't victims. You know what I mean? These are people that like put their whole life savings into something they thought was going to work. You know, or maybe not their whole life savings, because that wouldn't be a smart move. But you know what I'm saying? Like the millions, the wealthy people got their money out and left the people that were basically small business owners, for lack of a better term, left them holding the fucking bag. And they ain't rich where you like, oh, they'll be fine, fuck them. You know, maybe some of them
or even if they are, their employees certainly aren't, right? Because that was one of the big issues, is a lot of people had their payrolls through SVB. So
some of the viewers might not understand this too. So almost every business takes out loans every month for operational costs and payroll. So it's not like if I'm running a business, I don't, you know, and I make $10,000 today. Well, that money isn't what's going to pay the employees. I take out a loan to pay all the bills, and then pay the loan off with profit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Every business operates this way, and the bigger they are, the more likely it is. So
I mean, there are cash flow businesses. So for instance, you hear where somebody's like, oh, well, my company had $9 million, let's say, in an account at SVB, and they might be a cash flow business where that's not borrowed money, that's actually cash flow, but that's going to pay rent, that's going to pay insurance, that's going to pay.
It's like earmarked money, like escrow.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's So some businesses do that. They take the profit and they set it aside in an account that's for a certain purpose. Yeah, so that happens. But my point is,
and so the danger was that Tuesday was going to hit, and checks were supposed to go out to pay people their salary, and it was going to be for a bank that had closed down, and so they just weren't going to get their paychecks. You know, that's the people that were going to be left holding the bag if the federal government didn't step in.
I think this dude should get
the
a death penalty. He should get a death penalty.
I agree.
For him to have take because isn't this a trend we see? The same thing happened to Enron.
Mm-hmm.
CEO was telling everybody everything was fine while he was selling his shares, and then they go under all these people's pensions. It was because they didn't make them whole. I don't know what the fuck we did with them. But I think we just like fuck it. People lost everything, except the guy that did it all. Why
One of the
this,
greatest. Go ahead.
why can't we at least take all this dude's money?
We should be able to.
Yeah, why can't we find child porn on his computer?
Why can't this guy Epstein himself? That would be a shot across the bow.
If he Epstein himself?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Lock himself in a room and die perfectly legitimate means?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the greatest tricks that I don't want to say it's not the right contingent, because it's just like the pro-capitalism contingent, which is not necessarily the exact same thing as right wing. But one of the greatest tricks that they've pulled is they have conflated all business owners into like one class, when that's not really the case. They're the people that are at the top levels of finance and banking and energy and real estate are playing a fundamentally different game from somebody who, owns a restaurant or a car wash or something like that, right? Because when you're at that level, when you are involved in a BlackRock or an SVB or a JP Morgan Chase or something like that, you are able to use government to socialize the risks and the failures, but privatize the successes and the profits. And those opportunities are not, those options are not available to somebody who just owns a normal business.
Right.
And so what ends up happening is like there's all these bootlickers that come to the defense of these bankers and shit, because they're trying to make a little bit of money and like pay for their kids' college or buy a house or whatever, and they think, oh, they're like me, they're just like trying to make a buck. And it's like, no, they're not like you. They're not like you. They would sell their own mothers for profit. They will poison every single waterway for profit. Right? They will shut down every business necessary to make a profit.
Yeah.
They're different than you.
They're psychopaths.
They're psychopaths. They're fucking psychos.
Yeah, and
And there's only one thing that psychopaths understand, and that's self-interest. And we need to make it so that it's in their self-interest not to do this shit, or else their fucking heads get chopped off.
I wish there was a drug or
in Minecraft
or a procedure where you could literally see things from someone else's perspective, because I would love to just for 10 minutes be able to think, be able to know how someone, because there's people that like vehemently defend giant conglomerates and shit, like, because like it's unfair to Walmart, like, you know what I mean? Those kind of people. There's people that have said that kind of shit. It's unfair. It's like, what the fuck are you? Like, because
that's the most cursed opinion that someone can have.
Right?
Won't someone think about Walmart?
Yeah, this is the take, and I've seen it numerous times, and it's every time I see it, I'm surprised. I always think, oh, this person's trolling or whatever. But no, there's people that legitimately. And here's the thing: it's not like they're the owner of some other big box store. It's not like.
Right.
It's not like
they're temporarily embarrassed millionaires, though.
Yeah, right. It's these people that like. I just want to know because the only alternative is to attribute reasons to them, and that makes us all feel better, but it's really. It's really just another level of straw manning, right? It's like because my imagination is not capable, like my logic thinking brain is not capable of coming up with a reason why you would think that way. And so then I have to go to all my illogical reasoning. And I think that's unfair to this other person, because I don't know if that is their reason. I'm just trying to make sense of it to me. But I would love to like really know, really feel it. Like I would love to think like them for 10 minutes and take notes. Can they even take notes? Can the sort of person that goes, think of Walmart, do they self-reflect? Because like I said, it's easy to think, they think one day I might be Walmart. I mean, one day we're all going to be Walmart. You know? Everyone's going to be named Walmart, and we're going to just have a number assigned to us.
Have you ever read the book Jennifer Government?
No.
It's a great book. It's Max. I can't remember his name. Let's see, Jennifer Government. But basically, it's a kind of a Max Berry. It's a kind of comedic sci-fi book, which is like this hyper libertarian future where. Basically your last name is like who owns you. So there's like, my name would be like Rob Mattel and you'd be like Brian Burger King or whatever. Oh. And so the main character is this girl, this woman, Jennifer Government, and she works for the government. But in this world, like the government is basically like the weakest institution in the country. But it basically, it's a comedic take on the end scenario for this sort of just unfettered capitalism.
It's like Idiocracy with a different angle.
Yeah. It's like Idiocracy, but it's capital free market capitalism run amok, and it's a actually very funny novel. Like I strongly recommend it. But yeah, I think that it goes back to what we were talking about earlier with why do we still have homeless people? Why do we still have people who can't get food? And I think part of it is, an individual might have any particular reason why they have their own political leanings. But I think when you look at large numbers of people, you can see an overarching narrative that they're buying into. And I think part of it is that people, especially in the tenuous middle class, get some sort of psychological benefit from there being truly destitute people in their own society, because then that justifies their position in the hierarchy.
Right.
It's the reason why, again, going back to that Century of the Self documentary, which I'm only bringing up again because I literally just watched it, but they talk about how in the 90s, the Democrats, Bill Clinton specifically, he had won in 92, and then the Democrats got their ass kicked in 94. And so Bill Clinton was running for re-election in 96, and they really just went hard in the paint for all the suburban white voters, right? Because those were like the swing voters.
That was the whole super predator shit, right?
Yeah, there's the super predator shit, and they were like looking at what do people care about, and they realized that people care about, they want less crime. They were obsessed with crime because black people were committing crimes or whatever the fuck.
Right.
And it was scaring white ladies. And then they also, they didn't like welfare. So that's where welfare reform came from, right? Because all of these like middle class white people were like, well, I don't want to give, that's where that whole terminology, it's a hand up, not a handout, where it's like after 2 years, welfare dried up for you. Right. And so the idea was that, if we just pay people welfare, then they don't have the incentive to go work.
You know what I love?
Right.
You just gave me a good idea. How about, instead of us murdering this guy, because that's not going to happen, what if everyone just started treating bankers the way suburban white moms treated black people in the 90s? Like, like if you got any cash on you and you see a banker or somebody that look like a banker or somebody that's dressed like a banker, you fucking cross the street. Because they scared me to death. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but they terrified me. And when I see somebody in a 3-piece pinstripe suit in the daytime with a briefcase, I don't feel safe. I'm crossing the street. I'm not giving them no rides. I don't think they should be welcome at our restaurants. But you know what? I'm not going to take it that far. But we got to ostracize these motherfuckers. No, that's impossible too, because they can always, because they tip $30 or whatever.
Yeah, they already tip like shit.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. These motherfuckers don't tip. Can you believe a rich person that don't tip? Which is another thing. Joe Rogan always tips, over tips. which you rarely see.
That's good shit.
You rarely see that from rich people. Like,
Yep.
yeah. I remember when I worked at the store, whenever they knew he was coming in, they called it so there's a door guy that parks cars in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they called it a Rogan lot because they knew they were gonna get, $100 or whatever the fuck it was. And nobody else tipped that much. Chappelle always tipped. But the thing is, they ain't even have to park his car. In fact, I think he didn't want anybody to touch his car, which is so he was like, "Hey, take this money." Don't same thing. He would tip the fuck out of the bartender, tip the fuck out of the waitress, because it's like you can, and so it's weird to me when you meet people that have way more money than Joe Rogan, and they'll turn around and give you $5. You know what I mean? It is like, hey, motherfucker, you could tip me an amount of money that would change my life. You could give me $1,000 and it would be nothing to you. You probably just made $1,000 while we were talking.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yeah, but then you wouldn't have no incentive to work. Here's a quarter. That when I worked at a grocery store, this was my teenage years. At a grocery store, and I remember I started out. I was taking carts to the lot. That wasn't even my job, but I was just doing it this day to help out. And this old lady she needed help. She begged. This bitch had about 500 pounds worth of food. You know what I mean? Like 3 or 4 shopping carts full to the brim, shit falling out. I don't know if she was shopping for a fucking prison or what the fuck, but we helped move all this shit over to this big ass van and one by each piece polish it into the van. It took it was definitely more work than one would do for the average person. Normally I wouldn't help you take your shopping cart no motherfucking where. My job was to go grab the carts when you left them in the parking lot because you're a piece of shit, right?
Okay.
And but the unspoken rule was, if someone needs your help, you help them out. They throw you $1 or $2, whatever, right?
Sure.
This lady turned around and tipped all of us 50 cents. And
you should never tip somebody with money that makes noise. That's a rule.
That's exactly. That's crazy. Unless that noise is
crinkle, 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 crinkle.
Yeah, but that sort of shit. It's that sort of shit. So basically, this woman was able to afford probably $3,000 or $4,000 worth of food. This bitch has steak, shrimps, grade A eggs, all that. And she turned around and between the three of us, she tipped $1.50 for us to carry all this shit to her car. It's those sorts of people where it's like, and there's people that have billions of dollars, and they'll go to some nice restaurant and tip $5. We need a website for these motherfuckers. We gotta start calling these people out. Or something. Why do I want revenge so badly? They need
the only thing that they understand.
They need to get their fucking comeuppance, dog. That's the word of the day, comeuppance.
Well, here's the reality. I think that I'm gonna give people a little bit of optimism at the end of this episode, because watching that documentary and just other historical stuff, there are points in history where it gets so bad, it gets so untenable that things do change. And then we go through a period of, unprecedented growth and productivity, right? And then it falls apart again, and then we end up where we're at right now, and then the cycle repeats itself, right? But we went through in the 1920s and 1930s, well, the very end of the 1920s and then through the 1930s, we went through the worst economic disaster in American history, and people were spitting on bankers in the fucking street. Bankers were jumping out of fucking windows, killing themselves, like taking the, sometimes the trash takes itself out, right?
I mean, if I had, I wish I had the Constitution.
And then we had the New Deal
to become like a banker serial killer.
Yeah.
Well, we got the New Deal, but then that also but the circumstances.
That's a TV show, dude.
What, the New Deal?
Like a Dexter, who's like a banker who kills other bankers.
And I'll leave a little Monopoly Man monocle on your corpse. Yeah, I mean,
this motherfucker's been leaving little pewter ships and shoes and race cars on everybody.
Right, and then I'll be like, I guess he passed go, or whatever. Like something. I don't know what my catchphrase would be, but it would be something badass before I
free parking,
the
bitch.
Light go out. Yeah. Free parking, you son of a bitch. Don't park on Broadway. Yeah, they need it. They need, because that's what people want. People need to feel like, because like the same thing happened in the 2008 crisis, right? It's like the politicians want you to feel better about the fact that it didn't all collapse. We were on the verge of collapse and they stopped it. But that's not the American way. We need blood. We need to know that somebody fucking paid for it. That somebody paid a price for trying to fuck with our money. And it doesn't matter who, because this is what's so funny to me. When it comes to big money crimes and shit like that, they won't even make one sacrificial lamb. Like, make at least one person the face of the shit.
Throw somebody to the wolves.
Yeah, like the way they did Bernie Madoff. The way they did who's the Harvey Weinstein? They made him the face of, because that's what Hollywood wants you to believe, that since Weinstein's in prison now, there's no more sexual predators with power. It's like they all over the place. All the motherfuckers will have their little eyes wide shut parties and shit. One motherfucker going to jail didn't solve the problem. Trust me.
Well, that's literally what a scapegoat is, right? That's where the term scapegoat comes from. That's an old. I mean, it's not just Jewish, but that's
but you put your sins into the goat.
It's a Bronze Age notion where you put all your sins onto the one animal and then go slaughter that animal, and it takes care of the sins of the entire community, right?
You know what's worse than that is a whipping boy. You know what those are?
Yeah.
It's like there would be, like, if you say you were the prince or princess or whatever, it's like when you were being mischievous, and you was assigned 3 lashings or whatever, but those lashings would go to another person. Like they had a whipping boy or girl. I don't know if it was ever a girl, but they had a whipping boy on the side, and he would get your ass whipping. And so
what a crazy job. Imagine that's your job.
Wild job. But see, the whole politics of it was you would ingratiate yourself to the prince or the princess. So they would beg for you to not get the ass whoopings.
What's crazy though is, like, I mean, we got to wrap it up, but I remember reading this story about the aristocrats during the French Revolution when they were being dragged to the guillotine to get their heads chopped off, and a lot of them were just confused. They were like, "Why is this happening? I don't understand. I thought you guys loved us. Like we're the reason why France is so great." Like they literally did not understand. They had no self-awareness to understand that people were starving in the fucking street because of them, right? Because they had extracted all this wealth from their own society, from their own community. As they died confused.
If I had a time machine and we could do, temporal tourism, where you could go back and watch key historical moments unfold, that would be one of my first stops. I would pay anything to hear the cries of the aristocracy, the cries of confusion right before they got their heads chopped off. Even though I don't even speak French, but you know how right, like right now there's like rap in all these other different languages, and even though you don't understand the language, you could be like, "Oh, that boy's spitting." It's the same thing. It's like, I don't need to hear it. I know. I don't need to understand it. I know it. Just what they were just bonjour what they were. Bonjour what they were. Yeah. And then the last part were like the confusion is like It's like gargles because the blood is filling up there.
Shunk.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. You should pay. You should pay the price. But here's the thing, though. Do you have any empathy for them at all? If they were truly ignorant, do you have any empathy?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's just born into that and that's all they know, and they are truly confused by it, then I do have some empathy for them. But I also think that for a lot of them, they have a vested interest in sort of keeping themselves ignorant.
Right. It's like the CEO of Enron was like, I didn't know. Isn't it wild how all the CEOs always say they didn't know?
Yeah, it's like when the Waltons are like, wait, what do you mean our employees are on food stamps?
What?
Like,
I had no idea. Who was responsible for this? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, I have some sympathy for the people, but not enough to stop that guillotine from falling. My sympathy's not stronger than gravity, bitch. See you in the next one. Okay, wow, that's 2 episodes in a row that have ended kind of dark, Rob. And I don't know. I think this is gonna. I think this is a trend.
I like how I tried to make it optimistic, and then it just ended up us being bloodthirsty motherfuckers talking about chopping people's heads off.
Yeah, I mean, just somebody should die, proverbially or literally. I would take either one, honestly. Yeah. Public shame. We don't even know this motherfucker's name, this SVB guy. I think we got away from him. Becker. We talking about Becker. This motherfucker probably on vacation. Is he even being charged with any crimes?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, well, we'll see. I think there will be blood.
He's in Hawaii. He's in Hawaii right now. I'm looking at an article right now. Ex-SVB CEO Greg Becker jets to Hawaii after collapse.
Typical Howley activity. I feel like it's wild to me that a rich white dude would go to Hawaii. They hate white people over there.
Yeah.
Make sure you stay on the right island, boy.
Maybe he could have a fucking snorkeling accident. I don't know.
Man, I hope something. Because they never pay. They never pay. God. Anyway, especially what's so funny too is the party of accountability always letting these motherfuckers slide.
Yeah, but that's just PR.
And then even
party of accountability.
Yeah, even liberals, we make excuses for these motherfuckers. Obama and Biden, none of them are pushing. You don't hear any of them talking about heads will roll or none of that shit. They just wanted to go away. Because
the one thing that both parties agree on is that billionaires must be protected at all costs.
Right. More than babies, more than the average citizen, more than the economy, the real economy.
The real economy, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's hard for me not to be cynical, man. So I should just start doing drugs and partying, man. Because it's a wrap. It's about to get wrapped up out here.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to eat healthy and all that other stuff like it's a future. You know what I mean? It's like I'm out here. Why am I acting like there's a future? Because I don't think there is. I really don't.
I'm having a kid in a couple of months, and it's like I'm just gonna be like, fucking good luck. Have fun out there.
Yeah, your kid's middle name should be I guess. No. I mean, like I said, your kid will be fine. His kids or her kids, they're fucked for sure. Yeah. This the last one. This our last go round. Okay.
We're on the last boat.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah. Thank y'all for listening to BS with Brian Simpson. Man, this gonna be. There's some people that love the long episodes. This is gonna be probably the longest episode we've ever done. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, email us BSwithBrianSimpson@gmail.com. If you really want to support the podcast, don't forget, just buy something from one of the sponsors. That is the best way to support. Also, for the people that responded to, way more people than I thought, responded to the call for an intern and an editor and all that other stuff.
We're going through those right now.
Yeah, we're going through them right now, and we will definitely be replying to everyone. Even if we don't pick you, I'll still say thanks for that kind of shit. But I'm just very, very busy. But we are reading the shits. Thank you again. And that's everything. We'll see y'all next week.